Hi, my name is Krista Staley and I'm a makeup artist for Seint. And today I'm going to show you how I filter out some of these dark areas around my eyes, and hopefully it will help you with yours as well. If at any time during this video you think this is something that you would want to do too, just message me and I'll show you how you can become an artist for Seint as well. Okay, so we're going to get started. I am going to use 3 different colors and this little brush, mostly that small little end. But before I jump into these colors, I want to just look at my face a little bit. And I want to encourage you to do this as well, because that will help us determine what colors we need to use to filter out the dark spots. So my eyes aren't super dark, but there are some spots that really are a little bit darker, and just because of those, it kind of draws everything down and makes me look tired if they're not corrected. So when I look really close, kind of when I smile, I can tell that the sun hits me right on those, because right in this zone on both sides, I have a bunch of freckles and they're all just kind of clumped together. So I am going to be treating those freckles. And I really like my freckles, but if I get rid of about 50% of them, then it drastically lightens this area up so much and it makes it look so much brighter and so much better. So I'm going to be doing that. Now on both sides, about like right here and right there, I have some of that yellowy green darkness, which there's some freckles in there as well. Kind of a similar color. And then I've got a little bit of darkness here on both sides, which in that area I see a little bit more purple, a little bit more blue. And then there's this spot right there that drives me crazy. And like that and that are almost the same color as those freckles, because if I look really close, they actually are freckles. And maybe you look a little closer on yourself too, and maybe there's more than meets the eye at first. Also, one other spot right there and right there on both sides is this blue vein, which has a little bit of green to it too. So those are the colors that I'm seeing as I'm looking at those darker spots around my eyes. And so I'm gonna think about those colors, what they are. And then I'm gonna think of the color wheel and I'm gonna hop on over to the complementary color of those colors. And that's what I'm gonna use to filter out the colors. So I have 3 different colors here. One is straight orange, one is straight red, and this one is a mixture of red and violet. So from my experience, I've learned that although these freckles look brown, they're actually green. So if the majority of them are green, if they're a little bit lighter, I know that they have a little bit of yellow in them. But if they're a little bit darker, I know that they have a little bit of blue in them. So most of them are gonna just be treated with this middle one here, which is straight red. I'm gonna use this end and I'm just gonna tap in, and we're just gonna start getting rid of some of those freckles. Like I said, I still like them, so I don't wanna get rid of all of them, but you'll be able to tell how much difference it makes by brightening up this area. I also wanna point out that another reason that I don't like taking out like all of the freckles, which I totally could do, but I don't like to, because then I don't look like myself. I just look really almost washed out. Like I need a little bit of color, and I'm sure that you do too. So you gotta really think about what you wanna filter out and what you don't. And maybe just start, a little bit at a time and just work until you're satisfied. Okay, so I've got the tiniest bit on my brush, and I'm just gonna directly pinpoint some of those freckles. And there are a couple darker ones that I'm gonna leave alone, because I know that those have more blue in them. Like I said, when things have a little bit more depth to them, when they're a little bit darker, I know that they have blue. So I'll save those ones and get those in just a sec. A lot of people have like blue and purple under eyes, but if you look really close, if you see any sort of like brown spot on them, you're gonna wanna treat that brown spot first. and then go back to get the purple or blue, like if it's underneath that. So again, I am just using straight red, which is just bizarre. But as soon as I hit those spots, it completely neutralizes that color, which is so fun. And then you also, in this area, like around your eyes, you've just got to be so careful not to overuse product. Also be careful that you're not getting any of that color outside of the area that you're trying to filter out. Because outside of that freckle that I'm trying to cover up isn't a freckle. And if I'm putting red right on that outside color, it would probably turn really red and it would defeat the purpose. So just be very mindful of where you're placing the color. See how much it's already lightening up? And you can do as much or as little as you want, but like I said, I'm gonna do about 50% probably. And then I'm just using that other side and I'm very lightly just like tapping it on there. No swiping, don't swipe. And that's just in case you get a little bit too much product, then you can kind of diffuse that a little bit. Okay, next I want to get kind of those darker ones. So I'm going to use orange because they're darker, they've got some blue in them, and the complementary color to blue is orange. And so we're going to just use a little bit of orange and a little bit of red because they still have that green hint to them as well, but they also have a little bit of blue. Okay, we're getting there. You know what, maybe I'll just stop and I'll do the other side and then I will come back and do those. So I'm gonna call it quits with filtering out the freckles. I feel like that lightened it up a ton, and those dark lines aren't nearly as noticeable or distracting as they were. So next I'm gonna flip around to the fluffier side, which look at the shape of that brush. It kind of has like this flat side down there, which I love. It sits very nicely on the face. Like the shape of it is just so perfect. Anyways, so as you can kind of tell, I have like this dark spot right there on both sides. And it almost looks like I've been crying or something, but I haven't. So I don't know why I said that. Anyways, I don't like that spot and I want to cover them up. So they're kind of the same color as my freckles. They're kind of that greenish hint. They almost have a little bit of yellow to them. So the colors that I'm going to use are red and purple. So it's actually this color right here. And I'm going to use the fluffy side to that brush and just tap in a tiny bit of color and just bounce right on that area. Right where I see that greenish yellowish color. And it's just going to ever so slightly make that color disappear. And they might be just a little bit more green than yellow, so After I get that on, I'm gonna put just a little bit of straight red on there as well. But this mix with the purple in it gets rid of some of that yellow. And then if there's still a little bit of darkness, I know that I need just a little bit more of red. Okay, so then I'm getting a little bit of that, and I'm just going right over that same area. When they're right next to each other on the color wheel, you can get away with that. You've got to be careful about mixing colors other than that though. And just a little bit of red on that side as well. And see how much that brightened up, just like quite a bit. And it's such a subtle difference, it seems like, but then also, I'll show you my before and afters. It's actually a big difference. Like it just got rid of, between that and that we're drawing my eye down, now like you don't even notice those spots are gone. So now I'm gonna focus in this area, because now that I've got those freckles gone, I see a little bit of blue and a little bit of purple. So we can go ahead and also get that blue that's through there. So for these areas, I actually switched brushes. This end's just a little bit bigger because these areas are a little bit bigger and I don't feel like that little tiny brush is necessary. This covers a little bit more area at a time. So I know that these veins are pretty blue. I'm gonna start with that. But then I also know they have a little bit of green, not as much, but a little bit. So I'll probably bounce in between the orange and the red a little bit, mostly orange. And we'll get that blue covered up. So again, I'm just making sure that this orange that I'm putting on only covers that blue spot and nothing else. And then I just flipped around to this side. It has no product on it, just to kind of diffuse some of that color. And I'm gonna jump into a little bit of the red and go just to the sides of it, because on the sides of it, it almost fades out to like a greenish color. Okay, so that blue vein really doesn't stand out near as much. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and now let's work on this zone right here. So in that area, I see a little bit of purple, like on that side and right there as well. It's kind of this bluish purple. So actually going to use, this is a mix. This is a mix of yellow and orange right here. I haven't used that yet on my face so far that I've shown you, but this one has the perfect mixture to cover the blue and the purple area. I'm gonna use the same brush, just kind of swirl that product off and just tap into those areas. Now I wanna make sure I'm not going over the top of any other products. All of this is meant to be in just one layer and keep that product very minimal. So I'm just being very careful, pinpointing those spots. And not putting a whole bunch of product on my brush either. And then just because there's a bunch of fine lines and wrinkles, I'm just tapping it, like pressing it into my skin and just making sure that's all good. Okay, that lightened it up a ton, right? I can add just a tiny bit more. and then right up under there. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I like that color. I feel like that helped a lot since it has a little bit more of that purple in it. Okay, and then I'm just tapping that out as well, very carefully. And then I have some purple throughout here as well, some of that purpley blue right on the inside there. We'll brighten that area up as well. Pretty much the same on the other side as well. Brighten that area up, same thing. Guys, look how much brighter my eyes look. It's like those spots that we're bringing them down, they're not anymore. But I still have like color to my face. That's all that I'm going to do to filter out around my eyes. But when you get your product, you can rewatch this video as much as you need, because I used 4 different colors and they work for me. They might not work for you though. But it is really important, let me just say, that when you buy this Demi Colour, it's important that you buy it from a certified Demi Colour artist, because otherwise you're not going to get the support and help that you need when you get it in your own hands. Sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating to look at those colors and be like, okay, what do I do with those colors? But I know how to help you. I know how to help you through troubleshooting and just basically with your own eyes, because everyone is not going to use the same colors. And you know what? Even around your eyes, depending on how much sleep you get, they might change from day to day. So we do recommend starting with a collection, which gives you kind of a variety of colors, so that depending on what color of eyes you have, under eyes, from day to day, different colors will work for you and you'll be set up. You won't be like wishing one day you had another color, because you'll just have it. It'll come with the collection, and that will be the best way to get you set up. And then, like I said, once you get those colors, I will help you learn how to use them and where to put them, and just with any troubleshooting you have. So I'm excited for you to get your own Demi Colour, and I'm excited to work with you.